Hi everyone, my name is Farina Azam and I'm a partner in the travel team at Fox Williams. Today I'm discussing the key considerations when selling travel services to consumers outside of the UK. I'll cover the difference between targeted and incidental sales, selling to European consumers, and the rules in North America and the Middle East. Let's start with the basics. What do we mean by targeted versus incidental sales? This distinction really matters because it determines whether local laws will apply to your business. Targeted sales are where you are deliberately trying to attract customers in another country. So that could be through a physical presence, such as a local office or staff, or it might be through actions such as advertising aimed at that market, a website in the local language, pricing in the local currency, or packages that depart from the local market. So even without a physical presence, regulators could still say that you are doing business locally. Incidental sales, on the other hand, are where a customer happens to book with you from abroad, but you weren't aiming your services at them. For example, a customer stumbles upon your website by chance, or perhaps finds out about you through word of mouth or general marketing. So why is this distinction important? Because once sales are seen as targeted, local consumer protection and licensing rules are more likely to apply. Now, let's turn to sales into the European Economic Area, or the EEA. You might assume that selling into the EEA is simple because of harmonised EU rules, such as the Package Travel Directive. But the reality is, it's not that straightforward. First, let's look at the insolvency protection. If you're a UK company selling to consumers in the EEA, your insolvency protection arrangements must comply with local rules. You can do this by selling through your UK entity and complying with the insolvency protection rules of each EU member state you're selling into. Or you can create an EU hub in one member state, obtain insolvency protection which complies with the rules of that member state, and use this to cover all your EEA sales, and you'd be relying on the PTD's principle of mutual recognition. You also need to be aware of local licensing regimes which sit alongside the PTD. These licensing regimes don't just focus on insolvency protection, they regulate the business of being a travel agent or tour operator more broadly. For example, Ireland, Austria, Spain and Italy may require local licences or notifications. Conditions for the licences can include having certain professional qualifications, civil liability insurance or additional financial security. And even if you're licensed in one EU state, others, such as France or Ireland, may still demand local registration. Let's look beyond Europe to North America and the Middle East. The US doesn't have one national system. Instead, certain states have something called seller of travel laws. These states are California, Florida, Hawaii and Washington. And if you sell travel services to consumers in these states, you will need to register as a seller of travel unless you fall under an exemption. There are also typically financial security requirements alongside registration, such as a bond or trust account requirement. In Canada, regulation operates at a provincial level. Quebec, Ontario and British Columbia all have licensing systems with a financial security requirement. And in the Middle East, the key legal test is often whether you are doing business in the country rather than just doing business with the country. That subtle difference can be significant. Some licenses in the Middle East require you to provide a bank guarantee before you can operate in that country. And as tourism grows as an industry in the region, new laws are emerging. For example, Saudi Arabia has recently modernised its tourism framework and Oman is expected to follow. So as this new tourism market grows in the Middle East, so does its regulatory framework. Cross-border sales can be a fantastic opportunity for travel businesses, but they demand careful legal planning. If you'd like to discuss any of the issues I've raised in more detail, please do get in touch with me.